So we were sent an official statement by Milwaukee maybe like 10 minutes ago. And you'll have to apologize for any technical difficulties, as we don't really make live streams and none of the rest of the TTC crews here right now, so I will just have to speak on my behalf, Torque. But we have the official statement from Milwaukee. They said this is good for public announcement. So I will probably be going through this several times, as there's no way I can put this on screen. But after this video posts, I will have it verbatim in the pinned comment and probably the video's description. Let me know if you guys have any questions out the bat. You probably know what we're talking about here, so I think it would probably be prudent to just jump right into the verbatim. I'm just going to read through this without commentary first. Probably this video is going to include opinions, so we didn't include that last time in our video, but just be warned, you know, some of what I'm saying isn't going to be like the absolute truth out there, because it's going to include some of my own opinions. But all right, let me get into it. This is from Milwaukee 10 minutes ago. We have been working diligently this week to investigate the issue. Have included the official statement from Milwaukee below. Official statement. We have recently learned that a number of users are experiencing issues with their 2767-20 half-inch high torque impact wrenches with friction ring, and quickly launched an in-depth investigation to understand the claims. I already have thoughts, but I'll finish this whole thing for you guys. Upon investigation, 2 distinct issues were uncovered. We recently implemented a new mechanical design in the model 2767-20. The new design is distinguished by H96B in the serial code. That's an important designation, guys. The new design has not held up to the Milwaukee name and will no longer be sold. Our developmental testing of this mechanism did not reveal the symptoms described by viewers, but the feedback is clear, and our decision to replace the product is ultimately the right thing to do for them. We will continue to produce the original design that has been on the market for years. This is distinguished by H96A in the serial code. We will immediately stop production of the new design and which is distinguished by H96B in the serial code. Second point. There are variances in electrical tolerances that may have caused tools to stutter. This was exacerbated by the mechanical design of the 2767 inventory that is distinguished by H96B in the serial code. Seems like everyone can hear this, so I'm going to keep continuing. If users are experiencing an issue, they are encouraged to send their tool for repair or replacement by utilizing our e-service portal. Just go on their website, look up warranty, guys. All products with the H96B distinction on the serial code will be replaced by H96A. All right. Part 2, we got frequently asked questions. I don't know where they're getting the questions. All right. If you wanted to purchase the 2767, but are hesitant to do so until the inventory of the original design is available, what should I do? There's currently a mix of H96A and H96B serial codes for 2767-20 inventory at authorized Milwaukee distributors. The only product affected is the 2767-20 in bare tool packaging distinguished by H96B in the serial code. Everyone pick that up. These products are being sent back to Milwaukee Tool and will be replaced with inventory of H96A by November 1st. November 1st of this year. Question 2, why did you make the design change at all? Why mess with a good thing? Well put. Products can change several times within their lifetime for a variety of reasons, but the goal is always to exceed the user's expectations. This time we clearly did not hit the mark. Number 3, will the new tool have the same exact level of performance as the original? Yes, we are reverting back to the H96A mechanical design that's been on the market for years. I'll touch on these points again, guys. Why didn't you catch this before it went onto the market? A thorough investigation is in progress. We applied the same exact test parameters for both the original and the new design. All right, guys, so if you missed any of this, I'm going to be going through each of these individually, telling you everything that we know, we being TTC, Tool Guide, everyone we've talked to help you navigate some of these things. And at times I will probably have opinions on this, but this is just based on what we know so far. I'm sure there's more information out there that can make a more intelligible comment on each of these issues. All right, so we've recently learned a number of users are experiencing these issues. So I think it's been wholly our video out there so far. It seems to be Stuart, great guy, PhD at Tool Guide, has been helping us investigate this as well. But besides me bringing him into the fold and him doing very good diligence of looking this as well, I believe it's only us. So that's why the video title is in response to our video. Do you guys want me to pause here and take questions, or do you want me to go through each one of these things as I see them? Hit me. It's just gonna take a second for the chat to catch up. Wow, 700 of you in here. All right, keep going. So we recently implemented a new mechanical design in the 2767. This is true. I'm not sure why they didn't tell anyone, but okay, continuing. This new design is distinguished as H96B. The new design is not held up to the Milwaukee name. I agree with them. We have had, save for just a bad month for us at TCC, this HD 12.0 will no longer fully charge, which is not a rare issue. And their new M18 impact driver, mainly its call it died and didn't allow the tool to function anymore. But besides these issues, which not a good month, I guess, all of our Milwaukee tools have, these are just the channels tools, by the way. The ones we keep fairly nice, so if we need to do continued testing, these have held up tremendously well. So I would agree with them that A, this is an oversight, which they admitted, but B, that it doesn't stand up to their reputation, not because I know them as a company, but just from someone who's personally spent all our own dollars on these tools. Can I enable super chat? No, do not send us money, guys. None of this has anything to do with us. Use your money to buy tools. All right. We will continue to produce the original design that has been worked in the market for years, that is distinguished H96A. We will immediately stop production of the new design, which H96B in the serial code. So this is a new bit of information for me, that they will continue to produce H96A. So based on what they said earlier or later in this announcement, they were continuing to make H96As, and it seems to be found in their kit versions, which would be like -22, -21B, depending on how many batteries you get with it. The bundles that they sell of this tool with the mid torque, the BOGO they have, Matco has right now with this tool in the mid torque, so that would fall into that. That should be H96As as well. So that's news to me. I assume, not that I said that in the video, but I assume they were transitioning everything to B, so that seems to be news to me. There are also variances in electrical tolerances that cause the tool to stutter. This has been exacerbated by the new mechanical design in H96B. So the choosing of words here I think is smart, but also pointed in that it is exacerbated by the new mechanical design. And I would agree with that, that the pins being in a single shear has made the stuttering that we showed on camera more prevalent, made it worse, but they're not saying it's exclusive to the H96B. And this is something we also reported on in the video, because when we reached out to you guys, you all did such a good job of relaying all of your, you know, I'll call them complaints, our way about your 2767s. We concluded that it's late model 29 H96As as well have these stuttering issues. Way more prevalent, as they say, exacerbated by the new design, but not exclusive to. How that rate works out compared to the normal oddities you'd see in other cordless tools from other brands, we can't speak on. We would have to make a post asking people what their problems are on a DeWalt, DCF 900, or any other high torque or comparable tools, so we can't really speak on that. The users are experiencing an issue. They are encouraged to send their tool to repair for replacement using their e-portal. I've had some good luck using this in the past, even before the channel. But sometimes if you call these service centers, depends on who's picking up how much help you'll get. So yeah, use their e-portal. They will probably be very familiar with this issue and likely will not give you much hassle. That's just my opinion, but this is pretty public, so it would be surprising if they did. All products with H96B sent to them will get H96A. This is the first big win for you guys out there. No, this doesn't say recall the top of the screen, which maybe that would have been a preference for you, but that's the first big win. It means they're still making them, they still have them, and they can send them to you. John, who in our video was the tool dealer on a tool truck, his was making less power, and he sent it in to us, and we eventually killed it on screen. That was actually a replacement warranty of his. So he had 3 in a period of a week and a half or something. Don't quote me on that. He sent it in. He got an H96B back. That was, he was saying, couldn't even take off a lug nut. And that was the one that was underpowered. So previously, and until our video, people with issues with their H96B were getting H96Bs back. And it was, you know, just around and around we go. So that is at least a win for you guys. When and if you have issues, ours is still working right now. I can get a battery on here for you guys. Not that this proves anything. I'm not at the shop with the dyno right now, but it's still making the same power. This has the single shear pins. It's obviously the luck of the draw. You're rolling your dice each time you use it. That's my opinion, just based on the new design. But if and when you have issues, you send it to them, and you will get the H96A back. And I assume that is for the full 5-year length of their warranty terms. If I was them as a company, I would probably make a special clause for this particular instance, but I'm probably a little too close to the issue. Hey, Philly. Everyone say hi to Philly Fixed in the chat. I'm going to take a brief pause on this first page. We'll again go to the second page. What questions do you guys have? We can, I mean, I say we, it's just me right here, but I can speak to anything that I have information on or experience on. Hit me. Just waiting for chat to keep up, guys. Yeah, I'm using we as in the royal we. One thing that's worth noting is if you have the pin to tent model, the one in 63, I think 2763, 28, not 2863, that's the 3/4. The pin to tent is a slightly shorter tool, has different internals, and internals they didn't change. That's not often the case with these tools. People often ask us, are pin to tent tools different than hog ring? And it's usually no, but in this case it is. So if you have a pin to tent, if yours has a little spring-loaded cone on here, you can probably just stop watching. It doesn't affect you unless you're just curious. Any details on the current electrical issues with the late model H96As? The latest we have to show you would still be in that video that you've probably seen. They aren't addressing it uniquely here, but if you go to great Milwaukee communities, Reddit, Facebook, you will see postings of that same type of issue that predate August. So it's not exclusive to the new model. They're saying the new model makes these issues worse. Those are my words. They're saying it's exacerbated by the new design. So that means they're familiar with it, and it doesn't seem to be exclusive to this. Though I will say we have 215,000 subscribers, which is crazy. And so we have a large pool of people to draw these from. So if we ask people, you know, did your Milwaukee crap the bed? All the people who's thinking no in their head, they're not posting. But all the people who are like, yeah, I have issues, they're posting. So the sample size is probably important to pay attention to. Is there any additional quality control planned to be done on the A models? This is a good question, guys. This goes to the last point. Why didn't you catch this before? We applied the same exact testing parameters to both the original and new design. If I was forming this response, I probably would have just left that off. It means that they could make a C model in the future or a Gen 3 high torque and not catch these issues. if you've ever opened, and I would include some of my fellow tool YouTubers with this, if you've ever opened these tools, you are used to seeing these planetary gear reductions. And on drills, I don't know if I have one here. It'd take too long to open it for you anyways. On drills, you will see the pins standing off in a single shear. It's nothing crazy. Makita, you know, DeWalt, Milwaukee, I would say 90% of those examples, you open it up and the pins are in single shear, not captured on the end. But if you look at every single high torque Milwaukee has made in the fuel era, and I include TTI's, Ryobi, and Rigid in that, they're all captured with a bearing on the back. So why they moved to the new design, I don't know, but they're saying that the same exact testing parameters passed for both designs is not very encouraging for Gen 3, where someone designing this in a similar fashion, they would not catch this issue. Because, I mean, we caught this issue in 2 weeks with 2 guys and a YouTube channel and a full-time job doing this in our free time. So that's I don't know, that's a little far-fetched in my opinion. Sorry, I'll go ahead and at me, guys, for me to catch some of your questions when I take these pauses to look at them. Your channel growth is a credit to you. Yeah, thank you, guys. They Boeinged it. No comment. Okay, so an important note for you guys is that if you own the 1 key version of this, if you own the 3/4 inch version of this, if you own the pin detent version of this, the new design should not apply to you. And according to Milwaukee's words, not only that, if you bought yours in a kit, or if you're planning to buy a kit, or if you're planning to buy a 3/4 inch or 1 key, this shouldn't apply to you and you won't get a B version. So that's all good information to know, that if you're buying a 21-21-22-21B, that you're in the clear. But they do admit that the inventory in the United States is mixed right now, so there's no guarantee if you're buying the sole tool what you're gonna get. People are asking me, is it possible a third party made the studs wrong when it went into full production? Not something we've shown on camera, but we have a hardness tester. The pins that are on the new model appear to match hardness of the pins on the old model, but they are such small pieces that our test is not, perhaps not valid. And so the material thickness, the diameter is not large enough for it to be conclusive enough that we wanted to include in the video. But it's coming from the same factory in Vietnam, the B and A models. You can look up import records with keyword high torque, and you can see TTI shipping these new products August and afterwards from the same port of ladings in Vietnam. So it's coming from the same place. I don't know why they would change the pins. The pins being in a single shear rather than captured in the top, unless you're not familiar with like some basic engineering principles, is at least twice as not strong, or twice more weak, half or less the strength. So you're asking a lot of the pins, which is, it works on a drill driver, but impulse torque is very different than linear driving torque. Angus 420 says, I've got an old Milwaukee 1/2 inch that my late father left me, and one of his old NiCad batteries ones. I told him it's not worth it, but he needs to get his fix for sending them out to me. Yeah. I haven't historically had issues with the Milwaukee, though. We buy so many tools that I would be lying to you if I said we gave any one of these like an earnest lifetime worth of use. There are plenty of channels out there that do a better job than us of putting an individual tool through the ringer, because admittedly, by the time we've tested a new tool, we have 3 other ones we just purchased waiting for us to test. And if we had the manpower, we would probably just try to kill every single product we buy. But it is the torque test channel. I can encourage someone to go make the like durability test channel. It's hard work to do. It's not easy, and I'll speak to that later if you guys want. I think it's great they use that verbiage because, 1, accountability. Are you happy with Milwaukee's response? We're not. I don't know. I think it would hit different if I was like a bleed red, you know, forgive the analogy, but bleed red type of guy. I'm not a bleed any color type of guy. We own so many brands now that it's hard to be like waving the flag of any one brand. So I will at least say if I was a diehard Milwaukee guy and I owned multiple Bs, I would hope that there was an exchange program. Being a little step removed of like just knowing how big companies work and how these, you know, things go, it's a reasonable response of them to say, well, if yours is having problems or break it, we'll give you the A model. Otherwise, you don't need to call us up. Which I think is fair. They didn't put a term on this of 5 years, but I assume that's the term we're talking. That gives you, if you haven't seen issues in a B model in 3 years, you're not going to, unless you use it once a year. These issues, this is only a month and a half year old product, this B model. And we had all the issues we were able to report on. So I think it's reasonable, but yeah, I mean, a recall is usually done for safety reasons, guys, not often just customer satisfaction reasons. Do you think this will delay the release of the upcoming high torque replacement? I've been hearing about this Gen 3 high torque replacement since, you know, I was a little baby. I think it at least will inform them of what not to do. And if that delays the product, then that's a good thing. That's progress. I know you guys want to see the latest, but, you know, Jersey Discount Tool said a good thing, like everyone wants the latest and the new thing. Sometimes the old thing is pretty good. And this is well, I'm pointing at a B, but the 2767 is a very good impact, which is why we use it as a baseline to compare to other tools. So if it does delay the new generation, then I think that's for a good reason. Since we got a fine amount of people, will you do durability tests on the B model? Yeah, we can. I mean, we did this for 2 days. This is probably has on the order of 40 to 50 dyno runs. We retired 1 bolt. That was new just from testing this thing. We brought it over 1,000 foot-pounds, which it normally makes 778. And it's fine so far. It seems to be a roll the dice thing. I'm going to go over this statement one more time a little bit quicker for you guys because, wow, we have 1,300 people here. And I don't want to be here all day taking up your guys' time, but this is Milwaukee's statement in case people haven't read it or heard it already. I'm not sure if they made this public, but we got this now 30 minutes ago, including the 20 minutes of the stream. We've been working diligently this week to investigate the issue and have included the official statement from Milwaukee below. Official statement. We have recently learned that a number of users are experiencing issues with their 2767-20 and quickly launched an in-depth investigation. I believe that's true. We recently implemented a new mechanical design. That's the B. Our developmental testing of this mechanism did not reveal the symptoms described by viewers, but the feedback is clear. I'll pause and say that whether it's our video, Toolhead 147, forgive me if I'm getting your YouTube channel wrong, his video, people were able to break these while they were still in the the Home Depot parking lot. So even if it didn't pass their developmental testing, you would hope there would be further levels of QA, QC before items ship that would catch items that you can break within 20 seconds of taking out of the box. You haven't left Home Depot yet. So, you know, even if you're developmental testing, which I work in, you know, I work on developing new tools too, it's difficult stuff. But part of that is, and it's not necessarily my job, but part of it is you have a team in place to take these out of the box before you put it in container and use it on something. And if it breaks, you know, you do a card on, you pull the whole inventory. And it's surprising to me that they weren't able to catch that. But then again, I have no insight to their inner workings as a company, so it's just assumptions from my part of how any of this happened. We will continue to produce the original design that's been on the market for years. That's great. That's distinguished by the H96A. And these are serial numbers, guys. They're on the top here. So if you go in there and you buy 2767 and you're like, I'm sure it's the right one, you still have to check the white label sticker on the top of the box and this number here on the tool. The fourth number should be an A, not a B. There are also variances in electrical tolerances that may cause the tools to stutter. This has been exacerbated by the new mechanical design that is distinguished by H96B in the serial code. Yeah, so the stuttering that sometimes happens with these tools was made much more prevalent and much more worse with the new mechanical design. That's what they're saying. I agree with that. If users are experiencing an issue, they're encouraged to reach out. Basically, they're saying to our website. If you have any issues with your bee, I mean, you know, the sun's not reflecting right off of it in the way you enjoy it. Like, I would just send it in. I bet they will send you an H96A, but you do theoretically have your 5 years for them to give you the A, and they will replace it with an A, which is important. Frequently asked questions. If I wanted to purchase 2767, but I'm hesitant to do so until the inventory of the original design is available, what should I do? They're saying that currently is a mix of H96A and H96B serial codes for 2767 in the market, which I knew, Stuart from Tool Guide knew. Some people were saying I went to my store and they're all A's, don't worry about it. Some people are saying I went to my store and they're all B's, they don't have A's anymore. It's mixed, they're agreeing with that. So that makes this a bit dodgy to navigate for yourselves, especially for ordering online. The only product affected is the B model. These products are being sent back to Milwaukee Tool. So my question is, sent back from how far down the distribution chain? That's what I would be curious about, you know. Sent back from Milwaukee's tool warehousing, or sent back from local Ace Hardware store, even further tool truck guy? It's a good question. If you sell Milwaukee, I would reach out to Milwaukee to answer this for you. And the earlier you do that, the more likely you are going to have A replacements, which would be better to sell your customers, in my opinion. Why did you make the design change at all? Why mess with a good thing? Products can change several times within their lifetime for a variety of reasons, but the goal is to always exceed the user's expectations. This time we clearly did not hit the mark. This is another one I would have left off their FAQ if they weren't going to address why, but we're all just shooting in the dark as to why this is made. From a machining perspective, the captured pins takes more machining time and more material, and the bearing on the back being removed is a shorter bomb, a less costly bomb. That's not an opinion. I can say those things objectively. Make what you will of those realities. With the new tool, have same performance. Yes, even the B before, you know, it shits the bed has the same performance in my experience, and we're able to like precisely dyno that with we must have used 5 runs and showed you a median, but it really didn't waver very much. We actually don't see those squiggly lines until we get the data upload and throw it into a program. So the median run matching our median run of the H96A model was very telling that even with perhaps different friction tolerances and stuff, it makes the same exact power. It's just more prone to killing itself. And then lastly, why didn't you catch this before we hit the market? We did the same exact test parameters on both the original and new design. I would suggest to Milwaukee to augment your testing parameters to include field testing, which is something I currently work with people on for Astro Tools. Testing before products ship, testing as products arrive. So it's likely to design this in SolidWorks. They send it through the testing parameters that rate these tools for the power they do, and probably durability lifetime testing in a fixed. If you guys have never seen these impact durability tests, they look like a big brake rotor, and there's air solenoids. They press reverse, they press forward, and they press down on the trigger, and they go through cycles of that for 2-3 days. On cordless tools, it takes much longer to do so because they heat up, whereas air tools, you can pretty much do that back to back for a day and a half until the thing grenades. On cordless tools, you have to allow them to cool down after a certain amount of periods of time, but you'll do lifetime testing, and it's the amount of cycles before it normally hits like 90% of its original torque value or it's died. And so their automated test setup for this didn't catch that. So add some human error. Part of the R&D process is sending it out to people who are much more talented at breaking tools than you are. We are not that very talented at breaking tools. There are people like Eric O of South Main Auto who, even if they weren't fixing cars, they could make a full-time living abusing tools for tool companies. Find people like that, give them your products, with, you know, an NDA so that they don't tell anyone about it. Figure out how fast they kill it. You know, sometimes it only takes a few weeks. I'm gonna, since I just reached the end of this, I'm gonna open this up to questions. Again, we're not the source for this information, so I would encourage you to, you know, get your information directly from the horse's mouth. We just happen to be the people that have, you know, consolidated all this information first for you guys to see, which means we know a fair amount of cases that have happened, but it doesn't mean we're experts on this. We didn't design the tool. Can the Bs be modified to As? No. The ring gear in the body is the same, and the sun gear from the motor is the same, but the fitment from start to finish is different. If you take the carrier and cage out of the A and try to throw it in the B, the bearing that is on the A is not going to be nestled in anything. You'd have to pull out the press fit ring that holds down the planetary gears in the B model and toss all of that, and I still don't think it's going to work right. No, I don't think you can convert Bs to As, and you're probably going to lose your warranty if you try. Is there a trend with Milwaukee tools, or is this a one-off? You'd have to speak to channels more knowledgeable than ours. We got some leaf blowers. We got some impact wrenches, impact drivers. We are trying to expand into more tool categories, but they require more sophisticated dynos that take a lot of time of us, you know, prototyping. And so our knowledge of the vastness of Milwaukee's line is probably bested by several of you in the chat right now. So ask people in the chat, you know, if they think Milwaukee's quality overall is going down. If you were to ignore this example, we have had a few, you know, hiccups in the last month with Milwaukee, but I would say as a trend, not necessarily. Joe Biden is responsible. Okay. Chinese company making tools in Vietnam. All right. Hit me with more questions, guys. You can do @TorqueTest channel so that I see them. There's a lot of people in the chat. I apologize if I don't reach your question. Any chance of doing air ratchets? Sure. We can compare air ratchets to, that's a little off topic. We'll get into suggestions for the channel at the end of this if you want, but we can do air ratchets compared to cordless. I would like to include maybe impact ratchets too, because they have higher RPM and they make more torque, and they don't give you the they're reactionless, so they don't shove your fist into the side of the underside of the car. And Ingersoll Rand has a new impact ratchet. Go check out. There's a few videos out there actually right now on that, but I would love to include some air ratchets, air impact ratchets, compare them to cordless, how close they are. Do you think that there will be a replacement offered to affected customers? Yes, you will get H96As sent to you if you are experiencing issues with your B. If you don't have issues with your B, it's a difficult leg to stand on to tell them, here's my functioning tool, I want the better one. I wish I could do that as a tool user, but it's a difficult thing to navigate as a company, I'm sure. Not that I'm apologizing for them, but I don't really understand from there. Bravo to Aster Tools for discouraging you from sharing your insights. Yeah, they kind of just let me do whatever I want, and you know, if I hang myself with my words, then that's on me. Air impact ratchet, SP, yeah, SP Air out of Japan is very good. So basically, I shouldn't buy this product. My recommendation is wait. Well, you know, unless you have some, you know, Honda crank bolt outside. Why do you need to buy this month? You know, I would wait. They give a date of November 1st that this is all going to be settled. And guys, that's not very far away. So if you have one currently and you need a backup, I would say wait. If you need monstrous amounts of torque in the meantime, get a 3/4 inch. Buy the 1 key, buy it in a kit. So these are all options you can do. You buy the 1 key version of this tool, buy the 3/4 inch version of this tool, buy this tool, and anything that doesn't end in a -20, and you will get the A version. Until then, if you're desperate for a tool only, I don't know why you should roll the dice, but you know, that's your bag. I've ordered 3 impact drivers and have 0 issues with them. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, people have more experience than us on any particular brand. We buy so many tools, it's hard to be an expert on any one of them. Can you guys test the Master Force? Yeah, we can buy other brands. Yeah, we'll work on that. All right, you guys let me know in the chat if there's enough new of you that you want me to go over this statement. Also, let me know if you're able to Google this statement, and then I can just defer you guys to that so that you don't have to hear me read this again. And then I will probably give another, 5 to 10 minutes for questions after that. But let me know if you guys want me to read this again. Again, don't send us money, okay? All right. Yeah. Just use your money for tools, for your mid torque that you'll need in the interim. Spend it elsewhere. Can you test high torque? I'm not that enamored with the slow moving gear reduction lithium tightening tools. For the most part, they don't reverse stuff, and it's just kind of boring to test by itself. I think it would be cool to have in the fold, but like to do a video on a tool that just goes and then it's done. I mean, I could make an Instagram clip of that or something, but that's a problem with the tool channel. It's got to be interesting too, I guess. It's our fault. I think it's imperative they release this statement publicly. Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be your source for Milwaukee news, right? We use Milwaukee a lot as a standard because you kind of got to pick a brand. You got to pick a brand to compare tools to, right? If the new rigid comes out, we want to see it compared to a known quantity. But if then a new DeWalt comes out, that's in my trunk. If a new DeWalt comes out, we don't want to compare it to a rigid because then it requires you of having seen that video to know if the DeWalt's impressive. So you'll have to forgive us who have in large part picked a brand to keep comparing stuff to, but it's easier for people who watch sparingly to follow along. Can you test Makita's impact driver, the 40 volt Gen 2? We have tested Makita's impact driver, the XGT. If there's a Gen 2 version of it, I didn't know that, and I'm sure we will buy it. Any interest in testing Frankenstein rigid impact driver? We would need to test their impact driver first. I think that's something we haven't done a good job of, is probably including that on the channel. But yeah, reach out to us. All right, is anyone else interested in me reading this statement from Milwaukee again? Can you find it publicly? Let me know if you're coming late to this, and then I can go over it, or just switch this to Q&A and then we'll sign off. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. All right, we're getting a lot of yes, please, I'm late. All right, I'm going to go through this quick. If you've already heard me read this, feel free to, go take lunch or something, but I'll do Q&A as a wrap up to this. We've been working diligently. This is from Milwaukee 40 minutes ago. We've been working diligently this week to investigate the issue and have included the official statement from Milwaukee below. We have recently learned that a number of users are experiencing issues with their 2767 and quickly launched an in-depth investigation to understand the claims. Props to them, not too many companies do this stuff within a week. We recently implemented a new mechanical design, 2767-20. Only the individual tool, guys. If you buy a kit or a 1 key or a 3/4 inch, it seems like you're fine. The new design is distinguished by a B. It's not held up to Milwaukee's name and will no longer be sold. Well done. Our development testing of this mechanism did not reveal the symptoms described to users, but the feedback is clear. Our decision to replace the product is ultimately the right thing to do for them. Yes. We will continue to produce the original design as has been on the market for years. This is distinguished as H96A in the serial code. We will immediately stop production of the new design distinguished with H96B in the serial code. There are no variances. There are also variances in electrical tolerances that may have caused some tools to stutter. This was exacerbated by the new mechanical design of the B. It still exists in late model A examples in our experience. If users are experiencing an issue, they are encouraged to send their tool for repair to our e-service portal. Do reach out to these guys if you're having issues with your B, because they will send you an A, and that is probably something a lot of retailers right now wish they had on hand. So maybe the quickest way to get an A without buying a kit could be to warranty your tool. Frequently asked questions. This is from Milwaukee. If I wanted to purchase the 2767, but I'm hesitant to do so until the inventory with the original design is available, what should I do? There's currently a mix of H96A and H96B serial codes for this product's inventory. The only product affected is the B. These products are being sent back to Milwaukee Tool and be replaced with an A by November 1st. That sounds like a good plan. Why did you make the change at all? Why mess with a good thing? That's their words. Products can change several times within their lifetime for a variety of reasons, but the goal is to always exceed the user's expectations. This time we clearly did not hit the mark. Well, good job to them for pointing that out. Will the tool have the same level of performance as the original? They say yes, I say yes. Unless you're experiencing issues, it will make the same power. Why didn't you catch this before it went to the market? Their thorough investigation is in progress. We applied the same exact test parameters to both the original and new design. So one thing I haven't touched on is they say products change several times throughout their life. Not usually without a reason. And if you go on Milwaukee's website, you can look up your favorite tools and see if they've made a revision in serial code and with the new parts breakdown. And it does happen to tools, but it doesn't happen to a lot of their marquee tools, and it doesn't happen super often. So when they say it happened, they change tools all the time. You know, I don't know if I agree with that, but they would know better than I do. Is there anything from this press release you guys want me to go over that I haven't covered, specifically in communications with Milwaukee? Feel free to @ me so I can see your question. I apologize if I missed your questions. What's the TLDR for people who just joined? Milwaukee is going to pull all of their Bs out of stores, and by November 1st they will all be As. If you're experiencing issues with your B, warranty it through the website. They will send you an A. If you buy their kits, and in my experience 1 key and 3/4 inch versions of this tool, you will not have an issue, but there is mixed stock in every retailer in the United States. So if you order one online, there's no guarantee which one you're going to get, but you have presumably 5 years to work that out with them, because they will send you an A in exchange, and they've stopped making the B. Does this apply to the compact and mid-torque models? That's a negative Ghost Rider. This is a good design. It's no longer the most like powerful mid-torque in the world, but like this size, it's hard to get over. This is reached for a lot, and they are hard to kill. So no, these are still captured pins. This is not a changed design. This is only exclusively, according to Milwaukee, 2767-20. Will Canada get your defective B or get an A like you? Canada already has Bs. Europe already has Bs. This is a worldwide situation. Would holding off on purchasing the Model B and waiting for a decent Model A be okay? I would hold off. Would they address any other tool design changes? They haven't with us. All right, so outside of their official statement, I'll take questions for the next 5 minutes about the channel, about this, anything you guys want. Then we'll sign off. I apologize for taking so much of your time already. Hopefully this information is just Googleable at this point, or they put it out on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Can we get some weekly or monthly QA streams? No, sorry. I don't speak for all of TTC, by the way, guys. But I started the channel, and I can speak closely on this matter. Normally, we're working, sorry. JDT Co. Fresh pallet of stock and more coming. JDT Co. Jersey Discount Tools should have some on their website now, if not soon. And he's been tossing the Bs and buying the As, so props to them. Does anyone have the 1/2 inch extended electric ratchet? 1/2 inch? Anyone make 1/2 inch? Yeah. Do you think Milwaukee can fix this tool? They can fix my marriage? No, sadly, based on previous testing, they couldn't have foreseen the issues in your marriage, and therefore there's not much luck for you. Hopefully you kept on your 5-year warranty receipt, and you can turn that in at your divorce proceedings. Well, What was that you said about the M18 12 amp hour battery not taking charge? Yeah. So if you've seen our Milwaukee leaf blower test video, the reason the M18 didn't last long is that day, that week, this HD 12.0 crapped the bed. It no longer charges all the way. One of its banks is down. We are going to take this apart and bastardize it into something great, probably several different times, and do really stupid stuff with it. So that you can look forward to that. Okay, we're getting like some dating website BS now, so I'll just take a couple more and sign off. Do you still have the old DP Impact? Could you do a teardown? The tolerances inside that thing are just so terrible, it's not visually apparent what's happening, but everything just scrapes each other. Couldn't find it on Google. Maybe you can copy paste it somewhere. Absolutely. At the end of this stream, I'm going to copy paste it in the description, in the pinned comment. Hopefully this is going to be useful information for you guys. All right. Is M12 half-inch right angle considered mid-torque? No, it's just considered a right angle impact wrench. They don't have a lot of power, but you know, it's hard to expect a lot from those tools. They're basically large reactionless ratchets. So, okay, everyone, I appreciate all of you who have tuned in. This is as much as we know right now. We're not the source. I'm not the source of information for this stuff. I'm just some idiot that makes ugga-duggas on camera for you guys sometimes. So I'm glad we were able to catch this issue. Shout out to Grizz and John, who sent us, you know, examples and pictures and testimonies of their issues very early on that highlighted this issue to us, so we could bring it to Milwaukee's attention, to your attention, and that they could do this as soon as they have. So at the end of the day, even if you're not a Milwaukee fan, I think the tool community's helped by everyone learning about this as early as possible. Milwaukee's been professional through this whole thing. They wanted information. They didn't want, you know, they've not once fed me any excuses. They wanted examples, they wanted samples, they wanted serial numbers, and they wanted it like that day because they wanted to figure out what was wrong. So credit to them. It would have been nice if they caught it, but you know, these things happen. Stuff I work on gets crappy too, and then you just gotta make it good. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you joining us. Thanks as always for watching.